So what's the driver recruiting environment going to look like 364 days from right now? The past couple days, we've done a little activity where we've looked at the ghost of recruiting past, 2018, the ghost of recruiting present, 2019, and today we're going to talk about the ghost of recruiting future. What does next year look like in the recruiting world? Well, my first question for you is, what do you want it to look like? Do you want it to look like 2018, where rates went up, and because of that, recruiting departments couldn't hire enough drivers? There were pay increases across the board, and advertising spend was going way up. But carriers say that 2018 was one of the most profitable years in trucking history. Or would you rather next year look like today's recruiting environment, where rates are down, but recruiting departments are filling trucks, and they're cutting their advertising spend, and it's relatively easy to hire drivers? But also this year, many carriers are having one of their toughest years when it comes to profitability. So do you want next year to look like 18? Do you want to look like 19? We'll see, but let's talk about a few variables that are going to impact the recruiting environment. And as we talk about these various events that are coming up, we've got to ask the question, how do they impact truck count, or how do they impact driver count? Are they going to cause truck count to go up, or truck count to go down, or driver count to go up, or driver count to go down? You've got to ask that question with each variable. So we'll start with something that happened about a week ago, was the full implementation of ELDs. Now we know that's going to take some miles, some capacity out of the market, but is it going to cause a few people to maybe close down their company? If so, then that's going to take the truck count and bring that truck count down some. Well, let's keep going with that. You've got the EMO 2020, all the diesel prices possibly going up, that's right around the corner. Well, when that happens, again, more cost to carriers maybe brings truck count down a little bit. Some more costs. Let's talk about insurance renewals. You hear the stories of carriers that used to pay $5,000 a truck, and now they're paying $10,000 a truck. Maybe next year it's $15,000 a truck, and the insurance cost keeps going up and up, and the only impact that could have is bring the truck count down a little bit more, maybe, if more people choose to close their doors. And so there's three things between the ELD full mandate, the EMO 2020 with the diesel prices, the insurance renewals. Those are three things that may bring truck count down, but all the drivers stay there. And again, we've already got a very, very high driver pool as we sit here today. But the next variable we know is coming is January 6th with the drug clearinghouse, where all carriers have to report any drug test failures. And so we all believe that's actually going to cause the driver pool to come down some. Again, we're trying to get that truck count driver pool in line with each other. But then another thing that's being talked about is the 18 to 21-year-olds. A lot of people are trying to get it passed so that those folks, if they qualify, can drive interstate. Right now they can drive intrastate, but do they drive interstate? Think if that gets passed. That's going to cause that driver pool to go up even more next year. But again, truck count's lagging right now. So what's going to happen? And as we think about 2018, 2019, when we think about us here in the recruiting world, the number one thing is rates. And so that's what we've got to watch. And from what I've studied, and I know all you are studying as well, it looks like the next 6 months, the first two quarters, are probably a lot more similar to 2019. And so I believe the first half of 2019 is going to be a lot like it is right now, where many trucks are full, where the driver pool is very strong, very healthy, so it's easier to find professional drivers. And then in quarter three of next year, if rates start going up, then I think the recruiting environment could start to shift. But that's the crystal ball that we're all trying to figure out right now. I will say this about next year, something that I really started seeing at the end of this year. I hear a lot of times people say, man, the quality of drivers is down. And when they say that, my immediate question is, what do you exactly mean by that? Like, give me a metric that you're measuring that by. And two things that I've heard a lot recently is, number one, the number of jobs that a driver has in the past 12 months. So there's a lot of carriers that have a hard and fast, if you cannot have more than 4 jobs in the past 12 months. Well, because turnover is up at so many places, you're seeing more and more drivers that are hitting that number and being unqualified. Now, their NVR, their PSP, everything else may look good. You just got too many jobs. And so that's an interesting to watch, as that number has gone up and will continue to go up, I believe, until utilization starts to go up at many, many carriers. But the second thing that folks are saying are calling unqualified drivers is automatic restrictions. Several years ago, I was hiring thousands of students a year, and so I started seeing those automatic restrictions coming from the CDL schools. And so it started 2 and 3 years ago, and it's just grown over the past 2 to 3 years, where many, many schools are graduating lots of people, over half, with automatic restrictions on their licenses. And that wasn't a big deal because many, many carriers made that switch. But you've got some carriers that require 2 years of experience driving that have stayed on manuals. And so they're just now starting to see that big flood of people that were in school 2 or so years ago, and now they're seeing that flood of people that have that endorsement, and they can't hire them because they didn't move their fleets to automatics. And so that's something that I think those two things, number of jobs and automatic restrictions, are going to have an impact on some carriers even more in 2020. Now, other carriers are 100% automatic, and they don't care how many jobs you have in the past 12 months. So they're obviously unaffected by those two qualifications. So it's going to be an interesting year. We're all looking in that crystal ball, saying what's going to happen. Well, we've got lots of variables kicking in right now, kicking in the next couple weeks that are going to impact the recruiting future. So we'll see what it looks like. Hope you had a great Christmas. Thanks for watching.